to our board of directors, colleagues in the company, bankers, and shareholders. Good morning, and thank you for your continued interest in Shakey's. I hope and pray that you and all your loved ones are safe and well. It goes without saying that we are in unprecedented times. The world as we know it has changed, and several months since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, many aspects of our future still remain uncertain. What we do know, however, is that this crisis will be challenging for many. There will be record unemployment and other negative macroeconomic effects. Purchasing power and overall consumption will come down. Consumers' lifestyle and purchasing habits will dramatically change, and until a vaccine becomes available, many areas will remain under constant threat of lockdowns. In fact, today, we're only slowly getting out of one of the most strictest lockdowns in the region, which at some point forced the closure of 91% of our stores. The lack of public transportation, various mall closures, government checkpoints, and the need to install new procedures of safety led us to this unprecedented move. The Black Swan event of COVID-19 is truly one of, if not the most disruptive event in the restaurant space. In both Shakey's 45 years in the Philippines and my own multi-decade career in the industry, what we are facing today are the most challenging of times. So many things have changed and continue to change, none of which anyone could have adequately prepared for. What has not changed, however, is our commitment to our guests and our constant desire to wow them. This commitment now encompasses their health and safety as well every time they walk into any of our stores. It was for this reason that after very careful consideration, we made the difficult decision to temporarily close almost all of our stores in mid-March to ensure all store processes and procedures for health and safety were in place. For the handful that remained open, operations were limited to carry out and delivery only. This meant suspending dine-in, a significant part of our operations, which contributed 61% of sales in 2019. Mall stores, which accounted for 55% of our store network last year, were also closed early into the lockdown. On new stores, what was supposed to be a record-breaking year in terms of organic expansion has now been put on pause. Prudence dictates that we review both our existing store network as well as our planned expansion strategy amidst the economic uncertainties brought about by the crisis. That said, there remain some bright spots and blessings to be grateful for. We are pleased to note that we have since reopened most of our stores, making significant progress as restrictions have eased and our safety protocols have been put into place. From only 24 operating stores as of end March, we ended June with 267 operational stores, representing 95% of our overall store network. We are also benefiting from a strong in-home and out-of-store presence, even before COVID, with delivery and carry-out sales accounting for 37% of total top line as of end 2019. This is no surprise, as our core product, pizza, is the quintessential delivery product and very difficult to prepare and cook well at home. We have also made considerable investments in our in-house delivery and digital platforms over the last several years, giving us a much desired edge in terms of delivery systems and infrastructure. At the same time, as of end 2019, 45% of our total store network were located outside malls, either as freestanding stores, delivery hubs, or in gasoline station outlets. These allowed for much quicker reopenings early into the lockdown. Both our multi-sales channel and multi-store format approach will continue to be an integral part of our toolkit, giving us the much-needed operational flexibility as we navigate through the so-called new normal. This strategy is complemented by our brand's industry-leading margins, providing us adequate buffers and financial legroom amidst the uncertainties of today's environment. Our store's leading profitability, scalability, low break-even, and quick cash conversion enable the financial flexibility which goes hand in hand with the operational flexibilities mentioned earlier. Both will help us not only to weather the current crisis, but also to better position ourselves for eventual opportunities. Last but not the least, we are grateful for our millions of loyal and loving guests. Now, more than ever, brand love and trust have become key guest considerations. Their previously strong appetite for new and novel concepts have been greatly reduced. Instead, at these uncertain times, many have led back to brands that are more familiar, close to their hearts, and resonate in their minds strongly. The Shakey's brand, with our 45 years in the Philippines, fits all those criteria, and we are thankful for the continued support of our guests. That said, we are still in extremely fluid territory and remain on our toes as we navigate through this crisis. Our top 3 priorities continue to be: 1, ensuring the health and safety of both our workforce and our guests. 2, conserving cash and improving cost structures. And 3, leveraging our delivery and digital platforms for out-of-store consumption. On health and safety, we have implemented strict sanitation and safety procedures that exceed minimum requirements of governments and key health organizations. These initiatives translate to additional costs, but are part and parcel of our commitment to keep all our stakeholders safe. We believe that our guests should know, feel, and see that they are safe whenever they are inside a Shakey store. This will be paramount in building confidence and instigating traction in dine-in, particularly when they start seeing and revisiting our stores. On the delivery side, we have implemented contactless delivery protocols, which means the whole guest journey from delivery to payment is strictly no touch. On preserving cash, early into the pandemic, we immediately prioritized maintaining a strong liquidity position. We entered the quarantine period with a cash buffer from our stronger than expected performance in 2019 and into the first few months of 2020. We entered the lockdown with approximately 1 billion pesos in cash, which cover our requirements as we approach cash break-even in the second half of the year. We also have approximately 5 billion unused credit lines for worst-case scenarios. Finally, we do not have loan maturities in 2020 and have flexibility debt covenants on existing loans. We will remain on this cash conservation mode as we weather through this crisis, suspending all non-essential expenses without putting the long-term health of our organization and brand at risk. This translates to a more conservative store renovation plan, temporary suspension of new store openings, agreements with partner lessors for rent waivers and reduction, coordination with suppliers for discounts and extended payment terms, and accelerated efficiency programs at both store and head office level. With our cash on hand, unused credit lines, and belt-tightening measures, we remain steadfast that we will come out of this crisis in a relatively good position. Our pre-COVID balance sheet provides us some room as well, and we remain confident that while we put our growth-oriented strategy on pause, we will be more than ready to revert to these plans when the good times return. Until then, we will focus on our efforts on maximizing existing assets, most especially those geared to the guests who remain at home. This includes our widely popular loyalty program, the Super Card, which has always provided superior benefits for our out-of-store user. More than 1 million members, it is one of the largest loyalty programs in the country, and we plan to utilize this extensively, both the data and the brand recall. Similarly, delivery, whether through in-house channels or food aggregators, will become even more critical. The last few months have seen record-breaking sales through these channels, with almost everyone celebrating both Mother's Day and Father's Day at home. We hope to see more of this kind of delivery and carry-out sales numbers moving forward. While we are still very much focused on the crisis at hand, the last few months have also afforded us the same time and opportunity to look beyond the valley and begin establishing the plans and ways of working that will allow us to win in the new environment. We have narrowed down to 4 components what this post-COVID world would look like. 1, we believe brands with a strong delivery and carry-out presence will outperform. 2, guests will maintain the increased safety consciousness for the foreseeable future. 3, consumers will increasingly prefer brands that they love and trust. And lastly, value for money offerings that are affordable yet still wowing will continue to resonate strongly. On the first point, Shakey's is well positioned to benefit from this trend, given a robust delivery platform developed through decades of investment and brand building. Our well-recognized one-number hotline has been a big part of this success and provides us a strong platform in the minds of the consumer, from which we can then expand to other newer delivery channels. Such new platforms include our new released mobile app, strong presence in food aggregators, and our latest innovations, park and order, and curbside pickup. We will continue to invest and plow resources into the digital space, focusing on the use of data analytics, mobile ordering, and various web resources. On the second point of safety, we have, as mentioned, heightened all our health and safety protocols for both dine-in and delivery. Specifically on dine-in, we've also recently introduced al fresco dining and outdoor seating, which experts agree are safer than enclosed spaces due to increased natural ventilation. On the third point of brand, Shakey's has held for multiple years the #1 positions in both the full-service pizza chain and full-service restaurant space. As more guests gravitate towards brands they trust, Shakey's will be a big beneficiary of this trend. In our 45 years in the Philippines, we are grateful that Shakey's remains one of the most recognized and loved brands in the food service industry, and this multi-decade, multi-generational relationship with our guests is one of our best assets and the hardest for our competitors to replicate. Finally, considering the tougher economic environment, high-value offerings will resonate. This is, once again, our brand's sweet spot, given our more than 4 decades of creating wowing experiences at very affordable prices. We will continue to leverage on our heritage and industry-leading margins to continue to provide affordable offerings that will surprise and wow our guests. Given all these, what's next? Where do we go from here? As we look to our future, it remains worthwhile to look back on the last few years since we became a public company, even though it now seems like an eternity ago. We believe that these numbers reflect the fundamental health of our business and indicate the company's potential once we are ready to go. Our store network, we have successfully increased the number of our outlets by 1.5 times, growing our store count from 184 in 2016 to 279 last year. Specifically in 2019, we added 49 stores via organic new store openings and acquisitions. This store expansion strategy led to sustained double-digit growth in system-wide sales, increasing by 1.4 times over the same 4-year period. We ended 2019 with system-wide sales reaching 10.4 billion pesos, an increase of 11% versus the previous year, largely due to new store openings and the acquisition of Peri Peri in June 2019. Our double-digit growth in top line translated to a similar increase in the bottom line, which grew at 11% compounded annually. This is equivalent to 1.4 times increase in our net income since 2016. Sustained double-digit growth was achieved through favorable input prices, selective price increases, and our multi-year Fit for Growth efficiency initiatives. With earnings growing 10% year-on-year, we are happy to note that 2019 was another very good year for Shakey's. More than just the numbers, 2019 was a milestone year for another reason. In June, we happily welcomed the Peri Peri brand into the Shakey's family, signaling for the first time a shift away from our single brand strategy. This move is in line with our vision to increase a small portfolio of leading casual dining brands that would help us scale and deliver double-digit growth year in and year out. We are pleased with the acquisition, and its integration had been going according to plan. That is, until COVID-19 struck. That said, we believe the brand has significant potential, and we look forward to continuing its growth trajectory once the external environment improves. Another milestone in 2019 was our hitting 16 years of consecutive double-digit growth in top line and bottom line. This is a track record I am personally very proud of, having rejoined Shakey's 17 years ago, exactly 1 year prior this run. Unfortunately, this streak comes to an end in 2020. Despite only half month's worth of COVID-19 impact, year-on-year numbers in the first quarter already took a significant hit, with flattish top line and a decline in profits. The worst is yet to come, with succeeding months feeling the brunt of the pandemic's effect. In the past decade and a half, Shakey's weathered through so many crises, earthquakes, coup d'etats, volcanic eruptions, and the like, but none of them could stop our double-digit growth trajectory. The end of our streak was neither caused by competitive pressure nor an erroneous strategy. It was only really an unprecedented global pandemic that halted us in our tracks. Indeed, for me, this Black Swan event is perhaps the only acceptable reason for an ending in our 16-year run. Since our IPO, we also have strived to consistently declare dividends. For 2020, because of the uncertainty due to this pandemic, we are forced to take a more prudent stance with regards to our cash. That said, We will still be declaring a dividend of 1 cent per share this year, a decline from the 10 cents per share of previous years. More importantly, amidst all these challenges, we are geared up to not only survive, but also to thrive. Shakey's Philippines is no stranger to crisis, having been through numerous ones since 1975. Throughout these challenges, and more specifically in the last 16 years, we have not just survived, but also thrived. And there is no reason why we cannot do this again. And while very different and more serious than anything that the company has previously faced, I believe this new test will make us, the Shakey's team and the Shakey's brand, only stronger and better than before. I look forward to demonstrating to you all the resilience of both the brand and the team. Even in this new post-COVID world, our tried and tested formula of wowing culture and guest centricity will remain at the core of what we do. Our task now is to fully understand what guest needs and expectations will be in this new normal, and then strive to not only meet them, but to exceed them. At the center of this is the dedication and selflessness of our employees. We must always recognize their efforts as they continue to brave difficulties to deliver on all our promises for our guests. My admiration and gratitude go especially to our frontliners, our store teams, skeleton crews in our head office and commissary, delivery riders, and franchise partners, who all reported for duty day in and day out, even early into the lockdown, while the rest of us remained safely in our homes. This is wowing guest centricity and tenacity in action. Last but not the least, we thank our guests for whom we continue to work hard and strive to deliver the best in value and experiences. We do not aim just to meet their expectations. We try to always exceed them. This is the essence of our WOW philosophy and culture. It is during these challenging times that we are most grateful for the way our loyal guests have supported and patronized our brand. Their love and trust of Shakey's through thick and thin is visible and clear. In a similar fashion, our guest-centric mindset, our wowing culture, and our shared passion for the Shakey's brand must and should never change as well, through thick and thin. Let me end by stating that in every crisis, there are opportunities. I truly believe pizza has certain unique advantages to allow it to navigate in this crisis and come out in a good position to take advantage of the opportunities that will come. And I have strong faith that this specific crisis will eventually pass. And through thick and thin, pizza will be here with you. Thank you, and hope to see you all in Shakey's.